are sitting around complaining about
Yeah,
women.
just like there's a lot of women like you complaining about the men that y'all don't give a
I
If
don't
you
gotta
listen,
complain
my
about
thing
no
is-
damn
My
man. Are you
thing is,
kidding me?
if women don't give a fuck about these men that they complaining about, why do y'all care what they say on the internet?
No, I'm just saying.
Like,
Valid point. That's valid, 100% right? And because I get, you believe it or not, I've had requests to do like videos about toxic men who complaining about women, and they do all this negativity and they're bashing women. My thing is, number one, why I don't do those videos is because society is already holding those guys accountable. Think about it. Are these the men that these tend to be the men that women want to date and marry? No, they tend to be left alone, right? So society's already punishing them. What's the point of me going back and making a video about it, saying that, well, yeah, this guy's wrong. We know he's wrong. Why? Because he's by himself. Women won't give him the time of day. Welcome back to Money, Marriage, and Media. Today we are back with the Daily Wrap-Up Crew. 1,000 subscribers, that's the goal. Today's topic, why modern women hate when men have standards. Uh-oh. Let's get it going.
let me get to this next topic, right? Cause we was on that one for a minute, like, but I think it was a good conversation. Like, you had I know you wanted to talk about, you was talking about men's standards, right? And you said that men didn't have standards, or do men have standards outside of the ones that Kevin Samuels set? Can you elaborate on that?
That's the next subject.
No, because I just want to like be for real. Anytime you ask a man now, or any podcast a man has, and they say the requirements, they're literally listing the same ones that Kevin Samuels had, and it's just like, all right, like, yeah, rest in peace to that guy, but like for real, there's no other requirements that you guys. What do you guys say? Fit, feminine, cooperative.
Fit, feminine, and friendly. Like, that's what
I'm telling you, before he said it, that's what men always want.
Fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive, childless. And it's funny because the part that she left out is that that's for high value men. I would say this: average men are really looking for like three to four out of the 6. So yeah, well, let's keep going though. That's not a new concept though. That's been there. It's just that he was the first to popularize it on a YouTube channel.
He just had a loud voice.
Yeah, he coined the phrase, but he didn't make it up.
I've heard men say like,
but
different
you know what
requirements
it is?
other than Kevin Samuels. That's not piggybacking off of Kevin Samuels. Then it's like, now when I listen to podcasts, or like when you ask like men that is like, I'm gonna say the manosphere, I feel like Kevin Samuels just set like that standard for them, and that's just where they stuck at. When it's like really, and then it's like they get those things and the women is still not satisfying them, because I just feel like it's not what you want. I just feel like you're saying that because it was handed to you in a handbook. You get me?
I think that's
You know what I'm saying?
you know how women got their non-compromisable. That's what we not willing to compromise on. Like, you trying to we want a woman that's feminine. We prefer a woman that's fit. No, I mean, friendly is
What's
not.
fit to y'all?
I mean, everybody got
Not
different.
obese.
Yeah.
Not obese. Yeah.
Everybody
Not
got
obese,
different
that's
types,
all.
though, I mean,
The BMI of 25 or below.
Okay.
Yeah, but there are obese married women.
that's what I'm
See,
saying. Everybody got
That's
different.
what I'm trying to.
But
different
again,
requirements.
How many?
I think when
That's what I said. 3 to 4 out of the 6.
when Kevin Samuels when he says feminine, fit, and friendly, right? He's talking about what men genuinely want across all ethnic groups, right? Not just black men. This is making yourself more available to all ethnic groups. That's just the borderline right there. You get what I'm saying? So unfortunately, when we say those things, then we have women on the other end. Well, what about Lizzo? Like, y'all always want to make the exception to the rule. And like, genuinely, men don't like big women. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all keep saying y'all thick, and like, the average weight for a black woman is like what, 175, 180? That's crazy. Like, that's what men weigh. Like, you get what I'm saying? And not even men reaching out those. You get what I'm saying? So as and we could talk about obesity just amongst black women. Like, you know what I mean? They lead the league in obesity. Like, you know what I mean? And that contributes to heart disease, cardiovascular disease, a lot of health issues. And, in our society, we keep trying to not hold those women accountable and keep saying, well, she loves, she loves herself and stuff like that. But these are real health issues that really affect, and that's killing black women. That's really a thing. So, to go back to your thing, I get what you're saying because it sounds like everybody just piggybacking off of what Kevin Samuels said. But, you know, the thing about Kevin Samuels and about these podcasts is that men are finally in positions to have these conversations about, you know, what it is that they require in a woman. Like, you know, before we probably did accept the bare minimum. She just probably had to have a fat ass, you know, nice titties, whatever the case is. And, you know, now men are realizing their value, I think. And now we're saying, hey, you know what? This is what we require in women. And women are like, damn, y'all ain't never had standards before. Like, where the fuck all these standards came from now? Like, you get what I'm saying?
So it was happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, like, you know, so.
I feel like it doesn't really surprise me that is what men want. I feel like across the board, men are simple. You guys are simple creatures. So it's not, and y'all also are more so logical. So it's not really a surprise that across the board, these are the, let's say, 3 or 4 main things that you look for, because it's going to be just that.
So my only thing is, like I meet a lot of guys that, you know, you want your woman to know how to make like collard greens and baked macaroni and cheese and, you know, all this other stuff. And then you want her to be well versed in that, and then fit at the same time.
You know, I'm glad she mentioned that, because that is an issue. It's like, 2 things, and I think Jew is going to address this because we're watching a clip, but I remember watching the whole podcast. But the issue that he doesn't address is that because most men say they want a woman who can cook, right? But here's the thing that, well, I don't know why nobody ever talks about this, right? Most men are not going to judge a woman on what she cooks. We haven't gotten there yet. Okay, because most women are not, they don't cook like their grandma did. And the caveat there is, she's not supposed to. See, this is where men get messed up, because they wanted to cook like her mom did. But you got to remember, your mom is 20, 30, sometimes 40 years older than you. She had all that time to learn how to make all that stuff. So when you're dating a woman who is in her 20s, her cooking is not going to be as good as your mom's, because she ain't had the experience. She ain't had the time in the kitchen to perfect it. So I think that, you know, where I'm going with this is that, ladies, you don't necessarily have to cook bad food. One of the reasons why men benefit from marriage is because it's improved and it's easier to get into a healthy lifestyle, especially if your woman is doing the majority of the cooking, because she's deciding what she makes. So if you got a man who's hung up on bad foods, then at some point y'all have to have a conversation about transitioning to more healthier options. It doesn't have to be every day, because, and you know, that's a dieting secret there. If you're doing a crash diet where you're just trying to go cold turkey on stuff, that's why a lot of times diets fail, because you can't handle the diet's too extreme for your lifestyle and it doesn't match up. That's why most people just quit, right? But what the woman is cooking, if the cooking thing is a deal breaker for the guy, and she learned and she can't cook, but he keeps wanting all this bad food, then there has to be a conversation in there about, I'm concerned about your health. So let's go. Well, you know what? Let's just go ahead.
Don't get me wrong. I could do both.
I guess it's.
Don't expect them to cut in.
No, I know. Just saying though.
I'm not talking about being able to cook.
I say.
I'm not talking about being able to cook, because, like I said, I could do both. Personally, I eat healthy. I eat healthily. And I know how to make macaroni and cheese, collard greens, fried chicken, and all of that. But what I'm saying is, I'm talking about culture. So a lot of women who
eating that, I get what
grew
you're
up
saying.
eating that, well versed in those things, they don't have healthy lifestyles. So it's like,
I don't know, because
that's a
Jamaican
choice.
and we eat like a lot, but we're we call it big bone. Like I get what you're trying to say.
That it's ultimately still a choice.
It is.
You can make that food and you can make a portion. Now, when you
It's
go
still
on there
a
for
choice.
second and thirds, that's when you pass the calorie deficit. All right, so like we can sit here and make excuses.
Exactly.
Like, damn, that shit was just so good. I just got.
Exactly. So another secret to dieting is that you well, you know what? He said it best. Let's just leave it there.
Fat off of it.
I eat
Like, you
second
get what I'm
and
saying? Like,
third.
these are excuses.
No, I understand what
I
you're
eat
trying to
seconds
say.
and thirds.
I mean,
You know,
you go to the gym.
Yeah,
This what I would say. Now, the one thing that I noticed from like the last couple of comments is that you said you can do both, right? And it's not a problem for you, but you argued that point. Earlier you said that, people are complaining about being, you want somebody who's fit and friendly. Now, which one of those aren't you?
Great question, but they're not gonna answer that.
You're not friendly? Okay, because
So you're mid?
women.
I'm friendly. I'm friendly.
Well, okay, good. The reason why I said it is because women often argue points that don't
nothing to
even
do with
apply
the
to
sport.
them. Like, let's do it. Like, y'all arguing points that y'all
We gotta
don't do anything.
stand
So
strong. Y'all
you
stand
realize what it is you're supposed to be doing, and you are doing it. You're adhering to it, but you're arguing
you
a
still
point for
argue,
what?
yeah.
What are y'all arguing about it for? And y'all know that's what y'all supposed to do, and
Great
you're
point.
doing it.
That's the point of the show.
He's right. We see this all the time. When I don't, I'll go a step further. Sister code is why they're doing it, because they want to perpetuate the gender war. It's like, well, I got to go with my girls, but why? See, this is part of why the gender war is dumb. Because at the end of the day, the sister code is not going to save you from all of the negative stuff that comes from being single when you're older. It's not. So I think that what needs to happen is that, you know what? I'm trying to figure. Let's just go ahead.
No, it's not. It's
No,
not.
but what I've experienced is
Speak for the
because
ladies.
I won't,
Right, we gotta speak.
I won't like
Yeah,
come
right
out
now.
and say I know how to make collard greens and ribs. I don't even eat ribs, but macaroni cheese and all this other stuff. But if you see me cooking and you ask me what I'm cooking, and I'm like, yeah, I just made some grilled salmon and some steamed broccoli, and then, looking like well, she doesn't eat the way.
I mean, a real man gonna be happy whatever his lady
sounds
makes.
good as
You know what I'm saying?
I know for
That's the point I was trying to make before about, you select what you're cooking, because most men are going to be like, okay, well, yeah. Now the men would. Now, here's the other part. This speaks to why the vetting process is broken. If you're eating healthy and your man is eating trash food, you guys don't match up with lifestyles. Your lifestyles are totally different. You see, either you're going to get fat with him, or he's going to want to get in shape like you. But it's one or the other, though. Because very rarely because diet is such a big component of a person's lifestyle. Very rarely do couples survive and they don't share the same diet. Now, if you guys are going to agree to start eating healthier and start working out together, that's one thing. But to live two different lifestyles and that gets complicated. Most men are not going to marry a woman that lives a different lifestyle than what they see themselves living. So that's why I say the vetting process is broken, because we see stuff like this all the time. So, yeah, let's keep it going, though.
you throw some garlic powder in the broccoli.
I hear y'all saying this girl power stuff. I think women need to hold more women accountable. I think
true.
you should sit here and say, yo, I agree why men are more attracted to slim and fit and women that can cook.
It's
men
hard
are
holding
simple
women accountable
creatures.
Because they want to fight.
Huh?
The girlies be wanting to fight when you hold them accountable.
Well,
Well,
look,
it is
you
what
know
it
what's
is.
not making it any better? You defending their stupidity.
So you saying you're scared?
Scared.
I'm saying
I ain't
shit.
never
She
said
ain't trying
that.
to tussle.
That's what it sound like, man.
Please let them know.
You don't have to
I
defend
never
them, but
said
you don't
that.
have to agree with them at the same time. But by y'all saying what y'all saying, this argument or the debate part of supporting women that feel that way, that's not even here, is a problem, because they like, oh shit, she got my back. I'm gonna sit
Exactly.
here, I'm gonna be big and not cooking and because I got girls on the pod. They on the daily wrap up crew talking about let me be big and not cook. You know what I'm saying? Like,
She not even big
Well,
and
who
she's
am
taking up
I
them
to
back.
tell somebody, like, who am I to, like, lower somebody's confidence? Like, do
No,
you? If
it's
you
not-
can't
it's
get a
not lowering
man
their
because of
confidence.
that, then that's on you. I don't got no problem.
Well, I feel like in general though, like, no, go ahead.
If you really want to drive, if I was sitting on this set with the guys, I would have brought up the fact that if we reverse the situation and the guy's broke, you want us to stand up and say, hey man, he's a bum. Hey man, you need to get up and get a job. There's no reason why you don't have a job, man. Come on. You got to do something, man. Get off the couch, stop playing video games, and go to work. Well, you can't hold men accountable because they're going to want to fight. You think the women are going to say that? Or you going to hear some, yes. See, a lot of times what you have to do is you've got to give the equivalent for women to understand your point. It's just, I think that's one of the greatest tools in breaking down the gender war, right? Because a lot of times we just end up talking past each other, and it's an issue about communication because we just start talking at each other and just to prove a point. And it's like, but ultimately, if the gender war is perpetuated, who wins? The answer is no one. So we got to start a good way of breaking these conversations down so that we understand it is you have to give examples that the other side is going to understand, breaking it down to the terms that they can process. You know, women have to do this with guys too, because there are certain issues where guys are just inept at, and we just don't understand because because women very rarely take the time to put it in an example that we can relate to. You know, you got to remember, men and women, we think different, we act different, we look different, we live totally different realities. But if you don't give us an example of how we can understand it the same way that if we don't give an example of how we think, that helps us understand your thinking, then all we're doing is we're just talking past each other, and we continue down the road of the gender war.
Actually, I was missing a thought.
No, go ahead. You got it.
Why is that lowering her confidence?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're
making her a
What
better
am I
person
supposed to say?
by holding
Hey,
her confidence. The truth. Men from women, bro.
Like,
Feminine women.
No, what I was gonna say
and
was
I
I
feel
think
like
for
you should just lose weight.
But how can they do
No,
that?
not
We got a society
Hold on,
that's
Nate, what you have to say?
encouraging women to be bigger and obese. Like, nobody's encouraging women to lose weight. Y'all encourage
You
them
don't
to
need
make
to change
steps.
for that man.
Yeah,
So
like
he need to change for you.
What's happening is you
Damn,
further.
No, but I think for the most part, you should have, out of all the things that you want, you should bring some of those things as well. So, like me, I would want someone that's fit, and I know that I'm fit. I work out, so I would want that as well.
Lifestyles
Same thing
match
with
up.
money. I know I'm gonna have motion, so you gotta have motion.
Right.
So it's the same exact thing. I think for the most part, yeah, I don't agree with just
one-sided.
Well, all I'm gonna say is men gonna hold other men accountable. You know what I mean? If you see somebody walking down the street, he not doing what he's supposed to be, you go by ass nigga. They gonna hold him accountable.
Yeah, we do it.
And that's why men are trying to improve themselves so they don't have to have them conversations with other men. So women need to do that so women can do the same
really
thing.
think men are trying to improve themselves, or do you think men are sitting around complaining?
Complaining?
I think men are really sitting around complaining now.
I think we have a standard that we are not.
You talking about men on podcasts? Or you talking about?
I'm just talking
about women hate that men have podcasts because they finally they get to listen to what men have been struggling with for years, and now they got to hold themselves accountable.
It's not the podcast. It's literally like if you look on things sometimes and you read the comments, it's like men complaining, and they even come for the men on the podcast. But it's like when you really get to know them, they really sitting in the garage or for like bum ass Wi-Fi complaining about women. But it's like, why are you not building yourself up so you don't have to complain about women, so you can open up the options for you? No, they're on the internet literally complaining.
He probably.
This is a woman who has next to no knowledge of the male experience. Because her arguments, or you know what, I might be wrong because this is just a clip. But when it comes to this topic, her argument is one-sided. Every topic, I don't care what it is, I don't care whose side you on. Every video, even the videos that I make, I get women who comment, and it's like they're complaining. It's like it's the internet. You're always going to get complaints. That's just the nature of the beast. You put yourself out there in the public eye, people are going to complain about you at some point. It's just a matter of time.
Ain't got no friends that's doing nothing with their lives to hold them accountable.
But you talking about the internet, man. There's the same. There's women on the internet always complain. Women have been complaining about men for decades.
But why do you guys have to match women's energy? Build yourself up, and you will not have to be in a position to match women's energy.
Ricky Lake, Jerry Springer, all these shows where women been going at men.
All you guys say you're masculine, right?
I am.
Why is it why are you guys trying to match women's energy? Why not?
I'm not.
We're not
We're
matching.
not. We're not.
But it's always
Holding-
like women. If you just build yourself up to a certain point, you won't even have to complain about women
I
at
also
all. You
feel
can
it's my
get
job
that women.
as a black man to inform black women that it's not attractive for them to be the way they are sometimes.
Okay, and I
So-
always
and
said
that's
that
the
you guys do. I said that you guys do it respectfully.
I got sisters.
You guys do it.
I got about 12 sisters. I got like a whole bunch of female cousins. I know I have a lot of female friends. It's my job. I have a daughter. I have a lady at home. It's my job to have the black women that I know and I see and I can reach to let them know this shit ain't cute, y'all. Y'all need to.
Yeah, what he's talking about is being the patriarch of his family, and that is a responsibility in itself. The issue comes along when there is a lack. A lot of times, there's a lack of respect that comes with that, and you get labeled as being controlling. But here's the reality. Okay, this is why I say. I heard another female content creator start talking about this. And shout out to her. She talked about the fact that a lot of men keep coming on the internet talking about holding women accountable. The reality is that as a man, there's only a very small group of women who you can hold accountable. Your spouse, the wife you marry, the woman you choose to marry, your children, and later in life, the women in your family. That would be, as you ascend to being the patriarch of the family, that would be your mom, your cousins or your sisters, to things like that. But outside of that, no, you don't have the authority over people, especially on the internet, to hold them accountable. Why would you want that? Because that means that you are going to be willing to take on the burden that comes with when things are not going right for them. That means that you are coming to their aid. You're their protection. That's how that works. So and this is another issue with the gender war, is that, it's particularly in our community. Well, our women don't feel protected by the black man. Yeah, because you're not giving him authority over you. Random strangers should not be protecting you. Protection means that he is willing to die for you. You can't expect some random man on the street to want to be willing to step up and die for you. That's not realistic. But I think that. Well, look, we only halfway through this. Let's just keep going.
Switch this up. And the same thing, I would have the same energy for a dude as well.
I would say, personally, I have no issue with men voicing what they do and what they want and don't want. I think that's what y'all should. That's what I want to see, actually.
See, we finally have a chance to. Women had daytime talk TV all day, and it's only because women are 80% of the consumer base. They spend all the money. Men make all that money, but women spend the money. So the advertisers, it behooves them to make woman-friendly content. But now we're on a different level now. Now the internet came up, people could watch a podcast from their mobile phone. It's different. And then after 2020, it's over. Now everybody has been introduced to this. Whoever didn't know, now they know. Men have always felt like this. We just had no outlet to express it.
We were so used to lying to women because we wanted to get the pussy. We know if we told the truth, we wasn't gonna get the pussy. Like,
I have a question for him specifically, but all you guys can answer. Do you think that men now are using, I have to ask, the term alpha loosely? Do you think every man thinks they're alpha?
Every man would like to be an alpha.
If you're new to this channel, you probably haven't heard me talk about this because I don't talk about it that much because I don't subscribe to the whole alpha thing. The whole alpha beta conversation, waste of breath in my opinion. Why? Because the guy or the two guys that came up with that, they were relating male behavior to wolves. Wolves, right? At first it was supposed to be about primates, but primates don't fall into that. It's literally wolves, right? But people don't behave like wolves. The other thing is that the other reason why I don't subscribe to it is because you cannot be alpha all the time. You can't. It's impossible. What do I mean by that? Okay, well, no, dude, I'm an alpha male, man. Really? Okay, so what do you call it when you're in a room with somebody you're learning from? If you have who do you go to when you have issues? Most people will go to a mentor, right? Okay, but if your mentor has more than one mentee and all of you guys are in the same room, let's say you got a mentor and he's coaching 3 of you. Okay, but all 4 of you in the same room. Who's the alpha in the room? Well, it's not you anymore, right? It can't be. Because how are you learning from an alpha if you are an alpha? That's why I said you can't be alpha all the time. That's why I said this stuff is people take this definition too literal, and then it becomes delusional. Now, I think that there is some merit to the description in the fact that the way I would use it is, are you an alpha in your home? Translation, are you the head of your household? Most men are. All right. Every now and then you get an exception, but most men are the head of their household because that's the way most women would prefer it. So in the confines of your household, who is the king? There you go. To me, that makes more sense. Are you the head of your household? Are you a leader in your family? That's more important question than, well, are you an alpha male? Yeah, bro, I'm an alpha. No, you're not, man. Just stop. Just stop with that stuff, man. That's why I don't subscribe to it. Are you the head of your household? Okay, then let's go from there.
Right? And see, here's the problem. Most people don't even understand the socio-sexual hierarchy.
Yeah, they
It
don't.
starts
There's
with
like
alpha,
4
then there's
segments.
beta,
Yeah,
then there's delta, then you have gamma,
then
you have
sit on the
omega.
outside.
And nobody ever wants to categorize. I never heard anybody say I'm an omega or I'm a gamma.
Most of
Everybody
the world
goes
jump straight to alpha.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Most of the-
Straight to an alpha, and it's like, how?
Most of the world is comprised of deltas. That's the working person. Most of us aren't even alphas or betas. As much as we say, oh, this guy's a beta. He's not even a beta. He's probably an omega that you're referring to.
Right It's like, the dominance hierarchy.
I think it
That's
goes
why I'm
back
like,
to nobody wanting to be considered average. I mean,
That's basically
exactly.
Everybody hate that. Like, oh, I'm not average. What do you mean? So it's the same thing. So everybody want to be that top tier person.
But what do you guys consider an alpha male?
Leader, confident,
assertive, like you said, confident, leadership skills, somebody who demands respect from his peers. I think all of those combined make for usually a traditional alpha type of male.
That's what I feel like too, and I also think like a alpha male never really has to say they're alpha, but you could tell through their outcomes and what they show and like how they deal with a situation with the hand they're dealt. That it really speaks volume. You don't really hear alpha males running around saying I'm an alpha. You get me?
Yeah, for sure.
But the crazy part is we don't like. We never use that term. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like,
it was based on animals.
I hear that word more from women, honestly. We just had a whole
woman.
episode about alpha women. I'm an alpha. Like, I hear the term alpha more from women than I do from men nowadays. Like, you get what I'm saying? So, again, it goes back to women wanting to present that they're masculine or they have to be masculine. I'm an alpha woman. Like that to me is like crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? But just to go back to, the whole topic about the manosphere, because I hear women say, do men use the manosphere to bash women? And there are some men that do use that to, you know what I mean? There's podcasts, we like to focus on the black community or black men specifically. There's white men out here with way bigger platforms doing dating podcasts, having these same conversations. They're just as frustrated with their women as we are with our women. Like, we got different issues, but they're still having these same conversations. But nobody is saying nothing to the white men or the non-black men.
But they're having these conversations, but men, like, they're not really sitting around going as crazy as the black man. Like, for example,
they are.
My boyfriend, he mentors people, right? But listen, my boyfriend mentors, he watches all of these things. My boyfriend, he mentors people, right? So there was a guy that left a comment, he was going off, oh, these bum ass bitches, he can't find a woman, blah, blah. When he mentored the guy was making $10 an hour, about to get kicked out of his apartment. So my boyfriend asked him, like, why are you looking for women? Why are you on the internet complaining about women when you need to be building yourself up? So can you just imagine how many of those?
And there it is. Her knowledge, her little bit of knowledge comes from her boyfriend's coaching business. And it's based on this one guy. Eli even hinted to it before. You're not well informed because you don't know what's out here. I was wondering why there was so much. That explains it right there. Yeah.
those men are sitting around complaining about
Yeah,
women.
just like there's a lot of women like you complaining about the men that y'all don't give a
I don't
if you
gotta
listen,
complain
my
about
thing
those
is-
damn
My
men. Are you
thing is,
kidding me?
if women don't give a fuck about these men that they complain about, why do y'all care what they say on the internet?
No, I'm just saying.
Like-
Valid point. That's valid, 100% right. And because I get, you believe it or not, I've had requests to do like videos about toxic men who complaining about women, and they do all this negativity and they're bashing women. My thing is, number one, why I don't do those videos is because society is already holding those guys accountable. Think about it. Are these the men that these tend to be the men that women want to date and marry? No, they tend to be left alone, right? So society's already punishing them. What's the point of me going back and making a video about it, saying that, well, yeah, this guy's wrong. We know he's wrong. Why? Because he's by himself. Women won't give him the time of day. So you got to move on from that. It's the same thing with when you get hardcore feminists, on the other end of the extreme. Are they single? They tend to be. Why? Because I don't need a man. And even if you did, you'd have a hard time keeping them around. Women who complain about who tend to bash men, they tend to be single. And they tend to stay single too. We got two extremes of the gender war, and each side is perpetuating it. But at the end of the day, remember what I said before. We still need each other. Women need men need women. So this is why we have to start breaking down these topics and be able to start opening lines of communication and be able to talk to each other so we can break these topics down and get back to, because look, as long as the gender war keeps going, we're never going to be able to build. We're not. We're going to keep, what's going to happen is that each generation is going to keep reliving the same issues, and we're never going to be able to move past it. Look, guys, I think that's a great note to end it on. Go check out Daily Wrap Up Crew, because they have some interesting, these guys have gotten a lot better over the time that I've been watching them, because I went back and looked at one of their earlier shows, and wow, I couldn't even finish recording it. It was just like a bunch of yelling and back and forth. And this is the actual conversations. We need more conversations like this where we can actually have talk. We actually have conversation, and we're not just yelling at each other, and we're not putting each other down, and we're not kicking them out every 5 minutes, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about. But guys, I'm going to say goes to the next time. Peace.